What's up, G Fusion fans? This is Philip, and welcome back to another video. So, recently on our Facebook page, we have shared a photo of a screenshot of a Twitter thread between a Tokusatsu fan and Shinichiro Shirakura of Toei. So, if you haven't seen that, I'm going to link it down in the description so you can see what happened. But basically, in that thread, so the fan says that they appreciate the work for Zenkaiger and Kamen Rider Saber, and Shirakura answers that, well, they, as in on Shirakura's side, Toei, they are not supposed to know why or probably how people who live abroad are able to watch Kamen Rider Saber and Zenkaiger. So yeah, they're not supposed to know that, or rather, if you allow me to rephrase it, you're not supposed to tell them, like you who are watching this video, you who are most likely a fan of Super Sentai and Kamen Rider, or basically any Toei property in general, you who are watching this video, you're mostly likely a fan of those. So, yeah, uh, that's basically what I'm trying to say here. Now, the question is Shirakura an a-hole, or is he actually right? Well, I, I'm going to have to say I'm with Shirakura on this one, but don't get me wrong here. I do believe that everyone around the world has the right to be able to access this kind of entertainment. It's gaining popularity internationally, but on the side of Toei, at least, they've intended, at least the currently airing shows, i.e., Zenkaiger and Kamen Rider Saber, they're intended for the Japanese audiences. Sure, we have Toei Tokusatsu World where they post, well, rather the old stuff, but that's the one that's available for the general public, especially actually it's the inverse. So Toei Tokusatsu World is available to everyone else in the world except Japan. So what's the deal here? What's the problem? So okay, if you are watching any Toei Tokusatsu, at least, like Tsuburaya is very generous. They're Chad Tsuburaya, okay? So let's remove Tsuburaya from the mix here. This is just purely Toei, just to be clear. So if you have been on the internet, at least for the past decade, you probably have been watching either Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, or if you're like me, you've watched both. You've most likely seen them on streaming sites that, well, are technically illegal, especially by today's standards. You know, if you can recall last year, a lot of Japanese production companies, Toei included, especially, have been tracking down sites that have been illegally sharing content. Now, I do applaud the brave souls who dare to get the raw episodes and even have the heart to share them with subtitles. And I am greatly appreciative of all the streaming sites that allow the sharing of these said episodes. And I must admit, I also consume that content, you know. While I am currently living in Japan, I do have access to Super Sentai and Kamen Rider every Sunday. Well, almost every Sunday, except times when I have to get out of the house, you know, or every time that these shows are actually preempted, like with sports events or during the New Year's holidays when they are scheduled to go on break anyway. So, yeah, basically, almost every Sunday, I do have access right in front of my television. No, right on my television. Like, I sit in front of the TV, I watch Kamen Rider Saber, I watch Zenkaiger. Yeah, it's been my life since I came here in 2014, you know, and I feel so privileged with that, and I'm definitely grateful to have that privilege. But of course, before I came to Japan, I'm also one of those people. I'm one of you guys. I used to be one of you, but in some ways, I still am. If I, you know, if I wanted to watch Kamen Rider or Super Sentai, so I'm going back in time to around 2017 when uh, I started kind of watching Tokusatsu again, but maybe it's maybe 2008. Because that's when we were able to get like broadband connection, not the stupid dial-up system. God, those were the days. So yeah, when I wanted to watch like any tokusatsu show, especially those that were made by Toei, they were available on streaming sites. I'm not going to mention which sites was watching them on, but definitely, uh, at least by the time they were quite old, like I was watching Deca Ranger, Maji Ranger, or let's say shows like Kamen Rider, Kuga, Agito, like the older series that were airing or that have aired before 2008, for let's say. But of course, with that I was also able to catch up with the more recent ones, so like Kamen Rider Den-O or Kamen Rider Kiba, uh, Geki Ranger, Go Under, and then of course after that, everything else after that. So yeah, I kind of understand that the internet has been my source of tokusatsu entertainment before coming to Japan, of course. And like I've said, even to this day, I still do that. I still watch. If I wanted to recapture or rewatch episodes, especially the ones with subtitles, like to be honest, I'd be fine without subtitles, but just in case that I wanted to rewatch, make do some research on episodes, especially when I want to look into the lore. Sometimes the videos I make here that are lore based, and let's say for Kamen Rider, for example, I do rewatch those episodes with subtitles so I can uh, reconfirm the context, like I rewatch them to check if I missed anything or I got anything wrong. So the subtitles help me correct myself before I even make the videos, at least, or um, at the very least I could get a, better understanding, like more or less accurate, not necessarily 100%, I will admit, but at least as close as possible to accuracy. So yeah, uh, but the fact that I've been doing that, on the internet, consuming that kind of content online, content that is shared on, again, what is basically illegal websites, what are actually basically illegal websites, any streaming site that's not authorized by Toei, especially again with the more recent releases, such as Zenkaiger and Kamen Rider Saber, that uh, these shows, again, I'll repeat, they're not actually meant for release outside of Japan, not for the time being, of course, but you know, again, because what we're doing is basically illegal, it's definitely not something that you want to tell producers at Toei. I mean, if you do that, they're most likely going to double down on tracking these websites and shutting them down. So, I personally am torn with this. Well, like I've said in previous videos, no, it's great if you can actually legally support them. If you're able to watch, you know, on their official websites or official YouTube channels. If you're not contented with Toei Tokusatsu World, then there's the official Toei channel. But of course, it is region locked, so that's why I've been saying that if you do have access to a VPN, then go ahead and use it. But yeah, um, again, you're not supposed to tell them that you're actually watching from outside of Japan because, again, it wasn't really meant for release outside of Japan. So maybe one day, like the DVDs and Blu-rays of Kamen Rider Saber and Zenkaiger come out, I do think the Blu-rays or DVDs for, let's say, Kina Major or Kamen Rider 01, so they should be out already, or at least they're ready for pre-order. You could probably get those if you do have the money, of course, and then that way you do support them legally. But again, let's go back to the side of the fan here. I know I've been there. And I still try to relate to that. So now I understand that not everyone has the money to either afford a VPN because they are a paid subscription service. DVDs and Blu-rays can get quite expensive if you're definitely going for the collection, if you're trying to collect all the volumes, trying to complete the series, or probably even the movies if you want. So, of course, the cheapest alternative, or rather the free alternative, is to resort to streaming sites. But again, because they're not technically licensed, or, well, to put it bluntly, they're not licensed by Toei at all, it would be wise if we just, you know, keep it to ourselves at this point. And I do think one of the reasons that our old Facebook page was taken down is because we were actually sharing clips and videos of, episodes, especially of Kamen Rider and Super Sentai. And to be completely honest, at least from my own perspective, I don't want to get JE Fusion into trouble again because of that. I don't want, I don't want us taken down. We've been active in the tokusatsu fandom for years already, and you know us being taken down by copyright claim, you know if this goes on, we could probably get shut down permanently, and I'm scared of that. you know we want to keep making content for you guys, but if we as J Fusion get shut down, we won't be able to do that. And for us, it's been our lives. So, uh, probably, you know, at least Shirakura has the inkling that there are many people outside of Japan who are watching Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, and I'm definitely sure that he has an idea. He probably knows that these views from outside of Japan are being done on, non-licensed streaming platforms. That's why he's telling us this. You know, he's they're not supposed to know, or again, as I've said earlier, it's rather we're not supposed to tell them. And actually, no, if you put it that way, it's Shirakura trying to tell us to be careful. So, because, if other people at Toei, especially the higher ups who are probably higher in position than he is, if they would find out about this, again, they would try to track down these streaming sites and shut them down. If this goes on, we would probably lose one day the opportunity to watch Kamen Rider or Super Sentai because, no one's uploading anymore. No one, there's no more streaming site that's going to take, Kamen Rider or Super Sentai in fear of them being tracked and shut down. So, again, it's better to keep a eye low on this. Uh, just a word of advice, if I may. So, yeah, if you really want, one day to see Kamen Rider or Super Sentai, like the newer releases, the future series, the future seasons or whatever, if you really want to see them legally and officially, we could probably try to convince, uh, Toei, if there are enough people who would probably, uh, comment. Probably, I'm not sure if Shirakura himself is going to listen, but if there are at least enough voices that reach them, I think one day it could be possible. But of course, if we're going to demand it, at least demand it in a polite way. Please don't act like spoiled brats. I'm begging you. I know we've been wanting to see the more recent releases of Super Sentai and Kamen Rider, and of course, it would be a joy for us to support them legally, and if possible, support them for free. I mean, it's it's an ideal world, and I don't see it being an impossible thing, but of course, it may take time for the higher ups in Toei to reconsider this. But again, if there are enough voices to be heard, again, coming from you guys who are outside of Japan, maybe, hopefully, maybe one day we could change things for the better. So, yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video. So, let me know in the comments what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you have a different opinion? So, what do you think could have been done? What do you think could have been said, at least? So, again, please let us know down in the comment section. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like this video and share it. And of course, as always, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get the latest from JE Fusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.